He built a 1-mile tunnel to escape prison. He had billions of dollars and the power to shake governments. But even he couldn't escape his destiny. This is the real story of how El Chapo went from dirt-poor farmer to the world's most wanted criminal, and back to prison for life. In the heart of the Sierra Madre Occidental Mountains lies Sinaloa, a region known as the cradle of Mexican drug trafficking. Here, in the tiny, isolated hamlet of La Tuna, Joaquin Archivaldo Guzman Loera was born on April 4, 1957. This was a world forgotten by progress. No electricity, no running water, no paved roads to connect it to the outside world. Life was a primal cycle of dust, subsistence farming, and a deep, gnawing hunger that defined everyone's existence. Joaquin was one of at least 7 children born to Emilio Guzman Bustillos and Maria Consuelo Loera Perez. His mother was a devoutly religious woman, a source of quiet strength in a chaotic home. His father, however, was a different story. Officially a cattle rancher, he was in reality a gomero, an opium poppy farmer. He was also a violent alcoholic who frequently beat his children, especially Joaquin. The meager income from the illicit crops was often squandered on liquor and women, leaving the family destitute. From a very young age, the burden of survival fell on Joaquin's small shoulders. He dropped out of school in the 3rd grade, barely able to read or write, to work alongside his father. He farmed beans and corn on the unforgiving rocky slopes and sold oranges and candies in the village square, all to bring a few precious coins home for his family to eat. It was a harsh education in economics and desperation. By the age of 15, Joaquin had seen enough. Tired of his father's abuse and the family's constant poverty, he took a decisive step. He began cultivating his own small marijuana patch with 4 of his cousins. While other teenagers were dreaming of school and a future, Joaquin was learning the fundamentals of the trade that would come to define his life. He sold his first harvest to small-time dealers in the nearby city of Culiacan, finally providing a steady stream of income for his family. But this act of independence enraged his father, who, in a fit of fury, kicked him out of the house. Now homeless, Joaquin went to live with his grandfather. It was around this time he earned the nickname that would become infamous worldwide, El Chapo, Shorty. Standing at around 5'6", he was physically smaller than most of the tough, weathered men in the Sierra. But what he lacked in height, he more than made up for in raw, unyielding ambition. He was observant, intelligent, and possessed a natural instinct for business and logistics. He saw the drug trade not just as a means of survival, but as a ladder out of the crushing poverty that had imprisoned his family for generations. His ambition wasn't just big, it was boundless. In the late 1970s and early 1980s, El Chapo entered the larger drug world. He worked under powerful traffickers, learning routes, learning logistics, learning how to move tons of cocaine from Colombia through Mexico into the United States. After old cartel bosses were arrested or killed, El Chapo helped create something new, the Sinaloa Cartel. He mastered 3 brutal tools of power: tunnels to move drugs, bribes to buy protection, and fear to control people. His tunnels were engineering masterpieces, hidden under houses, crossing borders, complete with lights and ventilation. By the early 1990s, his organization was moving a huge share of the cocaine entering America. He had mansions, private jets, armed convoys, and politicians in his pocket. From the outside, he looked untouchable. But every empire built on crime has one guaranteed enemy: time. After years on the run, the law finally caught up with Joaquin Guzman. In 1993, he was captured not in Mexico, but in Guatemala, and swiftly extradited. The world thought the story was over. Sentenced to over 20 years, he was sent to Puente Grande, a facility ironically nicknamed the Big Gate, and touted as Mexico's most impenetrable maximum security prison. It was meant to be the end of his empire. But for a man like El Chapo, a prison wasn't a cage. It was just a new base of operations with a captive workforce. Most men would break under the weight of a 20-year sentence. El Chapo simply renovated his office. He didn't just survive, he thrived, transforming Puente Grande into his personal fortress. He had access to cell phones, computers, and a steady stream of female visitors. He chose his own meals from a menu, and the guards acted more like his personal staff than his captors. From behind these supposedly secure walls, he continued to run the Sinaloa Cartel with chilling efficiency. Orders for drug shipments, executions, and bribes went out, and millions of dollars flowed in. He had corrupted the institution from the ground up, from the lowest-ranking guard to the prison's director of security. The system wasn't just bent. It was broken, bought, and paid for. Then, with rumors of his impending extradition to the United States growing louder, the plan was set in motion, an escape so audacious it would cement his legendary status. On the night of January 19, 2001, the gears of corruption turned in perfect sync. With the help of an estimated 78 accomplices, El Chapo vanished. The official story, almost laughably simple, was that he was wheeled out of the prison hidden inside a laundry cart. He passed through multiple electronically locked doors, past dozens of guards, and out the front gate. Behind that simple picture was a staggering conspiracy, an estimated $2.5 million in bribes, a network of fear and loyalty, and a government institution exposed as utterly rotten. The escape wasn't just a failure of security, it was a demonstration of power. It sent a clear message. El Chapo's influence went far beyond prison walls. The man who walked into prison as a captured kingpin emerged as a ghost, a modern-day folk hero to some and public enemy number one to the world. For law enforcement in Mexico and the United States, the real hunt had just begun. For the next 13 years, El Chapo was everywhere and nowhere. The FBI, the DEA, and Mexican authorities spent millions trying to find him. Helicopters, drones, special forces, informants. Everyone was looking. While hiding in the mountains, he expanded his empire even more. The Sinaloa Cartel became the most powerful drug trafficking organization in the world. His fortune reached into the billions. Thousands of people depended on his organization. Entire towns were afraid to even say his name. From a distance, it looked like the perfect life of an untouchable king. But a life built on fear means you never truly sleep. Every knock on the door could be the last. After 13 years on the run, the world's most wanted man was finally cornered. In the early morning hours of February 22, 2014, a joint operation between Mexican Marines and U.S. intelligence agencies closed in. The location wasn't a fortified compound, but a modest condominium in the resort town of Mazatlan. There was no shootout, no dramatic last stand. Guzman was captured in his bed, the culmination of a massive intelligence effort that had tracked his inner circle for months. For a moment, it seemed the legend of El Chapo had finally reached its end, but the walls of even Mexico's most secure prison, Altiplano, couldn't hold him. Less than 17 months later, the world watched in disbelief. On the night of July 11, 2015, El Chapo vanished from his cell. Surveillance footage showed him stepping into his shower area and simply disappearing. The truth was far more audacious. Beneath the prison, his engineers had constructed a masterpiece of criminal engineering, a mile-long tunnel, deep underground. It was a testament to his enduring power, complete with ventilation, lighting, and a modified motorcycle on rails, waiting to whisk him to freedom. The escape was a profound embarrassment for the Mexican government and a stark reminder that El Chapo's influence reached far beyond prison walls. A massive manhunt was launched immediately, but for 6 months, Guzman remained a ghost. However, his time at the top was running out. His own ego would prove to be his undoing. While in hiding, he began communicating with actors and producers, hoping to make a movie about his life. These communications were intercepted, giving authorities the lead they desperately needed. On January 8, 2016, they tracked him to a safe house in Los Mochis, Sinaloa. Mexican Marines stormed the building, triggering a ferocious gunfight. El Chapo and a lieutenant made a last-ditch effort to escape through a secret tunnel leading to the city's sewer system. But this time, there was no getaway vehicle waiting. They were captured on a highway, trying to flee in a stolen car. The Mexican government, taking no more chances, approved his extradition. On January 19, 2017, he was put on a plane and sent to the United States to face American justice. In 2019, after a trial that laid bare the sheer scale of his criminal enterprise, a jury in a New York courtroom found him guilty on all major charges, including drug trafficking, money laundering, and murder conspiracies. The sentence was absolute: life in prison, plus an additional 30 years with no possibility of parole. The man who once controlled borders, commanded armies, and bought politicians now spends his days in total isolation at ADX Florence, the most secure supermax prison in the United States. His final escape route, the one to freedom, is closed forever. So what does El Chapo's story really teach us? He came from nothing. He wanted more. He refused to stay poor. That hunger is powerful. But the road he chose turned that hunger into destruction. He gained money, power, and fear. But he lost peace, safety, and his future. Every shortcut has a price. Every empire built on drugs, blood, and lies eventually falls. Real success is not about how high you rise, but about whether your success can survive the truth. El Chapo had almost everything this world could offer. And now he has the one thing he ran from his whole life: consequences. If you are chasing success today, ask yourself, do you want fast success that destroys you? Or honest success that takes longer, but lets you sleep at night?